Hello, listeners, fuckers, dudes, and dudettes. Welcome to episode 11 of Grumpy X Sunshine. That's not 3 X's, but we do come with a parental advisory. I'm Storm, aka Grumpy, if you couldn't fucking tell.
And I'm Lady, aka the Sunshine. Hello. We're talking about the SCP Foundation. Let me tell you, Storm has absolutely no clue what this is. I know very little about it. I kind of got into it when I was younger, but it wasn't something I got super into. But I know basic information.
I have no idea whatsoever.
So a lot of the stuff that I used for the research was the website itself, the SCP Foundation website itself. And then I also, there's SCP Explained on YouTube that it's animated clips and it's I like it. It's really good.
Okay.
So to understand the SCP Foundation, we got to give a little bit of background. And the SCPs began from just one post back in 2007 on 4chan.
What is 4chan?
It's kind of like a old Reddit. It's like the MySpace of Reddit.
I love how you described that. Okay.
You're welcome. So originally, the story started off as a creepypasta that was posted to the 4chan board Paranormal. And it was by someone under the username of the USS Walrus. They are now known as Moto42. It was written in
Moto.
It was written in research paper style of writing, and it described how to safely contain an entity and some basic information about said entity.
What entity?
I will get into that.
Okay.
So, USS Walrus had planned to post an SCP post every week, but had lost access for a week and a half. And it's really important to understand that 4chan does not save old posts, meaning that unless a thread is externally archived, the post will be automatically deleted.
Okay.
So unfortunately, this was the case for Walrus's post, and it was lost for over a decade before being found by a user named Das Meme, after a man by the name of Jason Scott posted about 10 million 4chan posts spanning from 2006 to 2008.
Oh, like he was just screenshotting them or whatever?
Yeah, it's screenshots, basically.
Okay.
I guess it's like computer screen caps, but whatever. So he posted this creepypasta, all right, and it got decent amount of traction.
Okay.
He never externally archived it, so he couldn't save it, right? No one saved it. But that gained a lot of traction on 4chan, and other people decided to start developing their own SCPs based off of his. All right.
Okay.
So it's all in the same writing style, and it's all kind of in the same world. We'll get more into that in a little bit. But anyways, Das Meme dug through 10 million 4chan posts and found the original thread of for the SCP Foundation subreddit. So this post was made several weeks after his original post was made several weeks after the episode Blink of Doctor Who. And in this episode, that's the Weeping Angels. So in the Weeping Angels episode of Doctor Who, what basically happens is if you look at
the angels.
Yeah, they start coming after you and you have to keep their eyes on them, or else they can supersonic speed to you.
Yeah, but don't look in their eyes.
Yeah. So the difference between this SCP, which is known as SCP-173.
Do you know how to avoid that? The Weeping Angels, I mean?
No.
Just put stickers of eyeballs on your forehead. Just put googly eyes all over your forehead and the angels are going to think that you can see them all the time.
Maybe.
Doctor Who didn't think of googly eyes.
No, apparently he didn't. So in Doctor Who, when the Weeping Angel catches you, it doesn't kill you. It technically does.
It sends you back in time or whatever.
Yeah, it sends you to a different time.
Yeah, takes your life time force.
SCP-173 snaps your neck.
What?
Kills you. So, in more in-depth explanation of what SCP is his appearance is based off of Untitled 2004, which is a Japanese sculpture. It was created by the Japanese sculptor or an artist, Izumi Kato. If I said it wrong, super sorry. So, although he didn't like the idea of his sculpture being turned into SCP-173, he did give permission to use a photograph of the sculptor. And this was taken by Kazuki Yamamoto, for non-commercial purposes only. So they are not allowed to
make money off of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of SCP-173 does not have any connections to the original concept of Untitled 2004. And I'm going to read you the original post. So it starts off with the top of the post. It looks like a research document. And it says, from the files of Site 19, 140042, 2007-6-22-140, SS Walrus. Item number SCP-173. Special Containment Procedures. Item SPC-173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times. When personnel must enter SCP-173's container, no fewer than 3 may enter at a time, and the door is to be relocked behind them at all times. 2 people must be looking at SCP-173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. The description: moved to Site 19, 1993. Little is known about item number SCM-173's origins. It is constructed from concrete and rebar and was once painted with Krylon brand spray paint. 173
That's a very specific brand of spray paint.
Yeah. Sometimes they get really specific in the descriptions, and sometimes it's completely unspecific. It just kind of depends. So this is an anime, A-N-I-M-A-N-T-A-T, whatever, and malevolent. If given the chance, it will kill anyone within its line of sight. Its weakness, however, is that it does not move while being watched. Despite this paralysis, it's still highly dangerous, able to cover at least 2 meters with the literal blink of an eye. It typically kills by either snapping the victim's neck from behind or grabbing the victim's throat and strangling him. Whatever animates it does not give it much force with which to break things. As seen above, a large room with unbarred windows is fully capable of containing it. Its grip, however, is unbreakable, as when it's not moving, the statue is hard and strong as concrete. While left alone in its room, one can hear stone on stone scraping from within. That is believed to be the sound of SCP moving about. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. We don't know, nor wish to find out, where it comes from or how it arrives, but SCP-173's container will slowly fill with these substances. In order to ensure that bacterial growth within does not begin to damage the building it is contained in, and to maintain some level of sanitation, the enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. I'm sorry, I butchered it. It's literally a little screenshot with tiny words. So sorry about that. So this one post inspired others to take on the same writing style, and within weeks, a new forum on 4chan was created detailing other SCP anomalies.
Okay, so that was the first post ever.
Yep, the first ever post, and it inspired millions.
Okay.
So these were then compiled from 4chan and placed into an SCP wiki, and then turned into something much bigger, which turned into the SCP Foundation. So this foundation is a fictional government agency that is contracted by basically the entire world, and it's used for securing and containing the anomalies and protecting not only these things, but the entire world from potential harm and destruction that can come from them.
So now that we know about it, we're essentially SCP agents.
Yeah, absolutely.
You hear that, listeners? You are all SCP agents. It is all your duty.
Back to SCP.
I said duty.
Back to SCP-173. There's video games made about him. There's TV shows, movies, anything you can think of based off of SCP-173. And it's the same for a lot of the other ones as well.
Okay.
So, it's become a collaborative writing project with 3,999 SCP creations to date, and
You hear
detailed
that?
stories about each.
You hear that, English teachers? Get your students to write some SCPs.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool.
That would have been a cool, like, in high school or whatever, that would have been a cool project.
Right.
Not only that, not only is it like a good writing prompt project, but it is also a good document format project.
Oh, yeah.
For like work purposes. So that's a good dual access
I agree.
sort of project for English teachers.
So people don't only write about anomalies, they also write about the personnel associated with the Foundation. Short films, video games, and whatever have been inspired and based off of these stories. There are 3 classifications for an SCP. Mind you, the anomalies is what the SCP calls them.
I would say we could do a short film, but lady can't act.
No, cannot. I cannot do that. Anyways, the anomalies do not have to be creatures. They can be sights and inanimate objects. An anomaly or an anomalous event is anything that does not follow the rules of reality as we know them. Okay?
Like
so
the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, safe, it means that containment of the anomaly is simple. Euclid means that containment of the anomaly is more complex. And Keter is containment is difficult to maintain. So this is where it starts getting confusing, honestly.
Okay.
The site says that there is no singular canon, meaning that every single article that is written is allowed to contradict other articles. And although it's phrased as there is no canon, many of the stories are written in the same universe and reference each other. So honestly, it's like a really kind of confusing place to navigate because...
Not canon.
Yeah, it's not canon. Everything is true, right? So
essentially, you're going through a multiverse?
Yes.
Oh my god.
And it all exists together and not at all. So there's a ton of work done to compile and organize not only SCP anomaly stories, but the behind-the-scenes stories of the scientists and workers. And they put it all into one site, which is the SCP Foundation site. And it's a literal website. And pretty cool, in my opinion. And as I mentioned, there's about 3,999 SCP anomalies. And we're going to talk about just a few from each class. And if you want to learn more, I highly suggest using the site or going on YouTube and looking up SCP Explained, because it has all of them. So SCP stands for Safety, Containment, and Protection. Okay?
Okay.
So I had Storm kind of go on the site and just graze at some of the different SCPs, and she picked out a few.
The Kedler one?
Keter?
The Keter one. I was going to pick one. Well, I didn't really want to pick it, but like I was sharing my screen with Lady, and Lady goes, "Don't make me do that one." Because it was just like a bunch of, what was it, Morse code?
Oh, yeah. That one, it's like you're not even allowed to speak its name type of thing. It's, yeah. Some of them get deep. Some of them are so complex. They develop these, like, massive backstories to it. And then since everything's canon, whatever anyone else writes about this SCP's backstory is technically true.
Yeah.
So that's why it's, like, pretty freaking confusing to me. So the first one, we're going to start off with Level Safe, which is SCP-343, otherwise known as God. So the description is a male, which is seemingly raceless, which means he appears as whatever race the person looking at him is.
Okay.
So me being white, if I looked at SCP-343, he would appear as an older white man. So if you were Chinese looking at this man, he would look like an older Chinese man.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Essentially, he would just mimic your skin tone and your features, just
yes.
Transfer them to man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And older in appearance. So he's a humanoid with apparent omnipotence. So he knows about everything. Yeah. He knows about things that he shouldn't even know about. He can do things that basically bend reality to as well.
Okay.
So he was discovered walking in the streets of Prague and was detained after a staff member witnessed him disappear from the streets and reappear on the rooftop. He was detained willingly in his chamber as containment has proved impossible. So even though he's considered in
Quote,
the class safe,
yeah,
you cannot contain him. He walks through walls. He just disappears. He does whatever he wants. He even morphs his cell to be whatever he wants it to be.
Okay.
So, special containment procedures for SCP-343 resides in a 6x1 meter by 6x1 meter, which is 20 feet by 20 feet room, at a minimal security Site 17. It should be brought any items it requests and visited by at least one member of staff each day. Attempt to add further safety precautions or required clearances are unnecessary and impossible due to the nature of SCP-343. Nothing is known about 343's origins or the extent of his powers, and he manages to delete all information documented about him. So, the backstory of it was like...
I was going to say, just go ask him what containment.
Yeah, which is what they do.
And then it
go
just
and talk
deletes
to him.
itself.
If they write it down, it deletes. If they try to document it, it deletes. It says, data not available.
Well then.
Even on physical handwritten copies, it'll say data not available.
Well then.
He will not let you document about him. Nothing is known about his origins or the extent of his powers. He manages to delete everything around him. He stays in his containment cell for the most part.
Okay.
He managed to turn this 20 by 20 room into this basically old English style cottage.
Okay.
So when you walk into his room, it's a revolving door. It's his door. And he turned it into that. It was not that originally. And when they described when they walk in, the cell looks 10 times bigger than it actually is. Bigger than any other cell. He has this roaring fireplace and candles and very like old English style cottage to it. Mm-hmm. And they have like, they were like, how the fuck did this happen? It was just like a normal cell before. Yeah. And he completely changed how you perceive it.
Mm-hmm.
And then also during his first interview, when he was detained, he was willingly detained. They were sitting there and he told this guy, I'm God. I am the creator of the universe. And this guy in his head was like,
what the fuck, bro?
Yeah, like, can you even prove that? And that was in his head. 343 stood up laughing, walked through a wall, and came back seconds later with a hamburger and just sat down and started eating. And everyone was like, whoa, you know? But so him being at Site 17 is actually an improvement for him. He built morale, staff were more efficient since his entrance, and it's believed that he could basically be counseling for staff in more stressful containments, such as the Euclids and the Ketters. So they want to bring staff from other containment sites that
are more stressful,
that are more heavily contained, and come here and talk to him and improve morale with them as well. Anyone that comes in and talks to him immediately leaves feeling 10 times better. But they don't talk about their conversations with him. Nothing is known about the conversations between a personal staff member and God unless it's them.
Okay.
They also hypothesized that he could pacify some of the Foundation's most dangerous anomalies. So they want to bring in some of these like really super dangerous, like SCP-173.
Mm-hmm.
They want to see if they can bring them in and he can pacify them.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they never tried it though.
Yet.
No one signed off on it. They did try to say that his containment was supposed to be for only level 3 clearance and above. But the guards never followed it. Even some of the most, like the best guards that they had would still let clearance levels under that in to the room to talk to him. And anytime I approached him, it's like, hey, you're not doing your job.
Okay.
This isn't what we told you. You were supposed to restrict access.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, just calm down. It's fine. It makes him happy. So they just let it happen. It's like God has some type of like almost mind control over these people, but it's still in a very like, you still have free will, but you want to please me, you know? He's completely peaceful. He makes everyone feel better, you know? So they kind of was just like, okay, whatever. But the big boss is like all super upset about it. And he was like, I'm going to go talk to him myself. And after talking to him, he comes out of the room. He pats the guard on the back. And he's like, don't worry about it. Let in whoever wants to come in. Make sure you do everything you can. If he asks for something, you go get it. Just so we can prevent him from leaving his cell as much.
Yeah.
But if he wants something, he gets it, no matter what it is.
Okay.
Isn't that wild? So he loves hamburgers and absolutely adores company.
Same.
So our
about
next...
the hamburgers.
Same. You don't like company. Our next...
Well, I like you.
Sometimes.
Most of the time.
Nice. I was worried for a little bit there.
Oh.
Sometimes I get like, oh my god, I'm like pissing her off.
I'm just too overwhelmed right now. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on. And I just need... My social battery has been at 0 for about 4 weeks now. Right. If not more.
I feel that.
So it's been a rough time, but I still love you.
Thank you.
I'm just tired.
I'm just tired.
I'm just tired.
All right. Our next class is Euclid.
Mm-hmm.
You picked the Shy Guy for this one.
Yes, I picked it for Blue.
For Blue.
I don't know what
This
it
is
is,
for
but
you, Blue.
I thought Blue would love the Shy Guy.
I don't think she's going to like this one. But the Shy Guy is SCP-096. This is a humanoid creature measuring... This is the description from the SCP site, by the way. I start off with the description, I give their special containment, and then other little things I learned about them.
Okay.
I should have put that in the beginning, but oh well, we're here.
We're here now.
He is a humanoid creature measuring approximately 2.38 meters in height. Subject shows very little muscle mass with
Preliminary?
Yes. Analysis of body mass suggesting mild malnutrition.
Says the going to be nurse.
I know, I can't pronounce anything.
And I can't spell anything. Great team.
I know, it's perfect. I'll spell everything for you and you can just pronounce it for me.
Okay.
Okay. His arms are grossly out of proportion with the rest of the subject's body, with an approximate length of 1.5 meters each. Skin is mostly devoid of pigmentation with no sign of any body hair. SCP-096's jaw can open 4 times the normal amount of an average human. Other facial features remain similar to the average human, with the exception of the eyes, which are also devoid of pigmentation. It is not yet known whether SCP-096 is blind or not. It shows no signs of any higher brain functions and is not considered to be sapient.
So wait, humanoid, devoid of all pigmentation.
So he's literally this...
He's Slenderman.
Yeah, I think more like gray tone, though. He's more like
translucent.
Yeah. Think Wendigo.
Okay.
But he has a humanoid face with a long open jaw.
Creepy.
And white eyes. Big white eyes. SCP-096 is normally extremely docile, with pressure sensors inside the cell indicating he spends most of his day pacing by the eastern wall. However, when someone views SCP-096's face, whether it be directly, via video recording, or even a photograph, it will enter a stage of considerable emotional distress. SCP-096 will cover its face...
How does it know?
I have no clue. I have a... Well, technically I have a little bit of a hint, but we'll get to that. But generally, no, we don't know. It will cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, and babbling incoherently. Approximately 1 to 2 minutes after the first viewing, SCP-096 will begin running to the person who viewed its face, who will from this point be referred to as SCP-096-1, because you are now considered an anomaly. So if you were to view its face, you are no longer Storm, you are SCP-096-1, because you are now the anomaly with SCP-096. I'm just going to say victim when reading the rest of this.
Okay.
Okay. Documented speeds have varied from 35 kilometers an hour to redacted, and seems to depend on the distance from SCP. Oh, I'm sorry. Seems to depend on the distance from the victim. At this point, no known material or method can impede 096's progress, but the actual position of the victim does not seem to affect 096's response. It seems to have an innate sense of the victim's location. Note, this reaction does not occur when viewing artistic depictions. So if someone were to paint it,
okay,
it will not react the same way. It has to be a photo, a video, or viewing the face.
Okay, so it goes back to some of those old sayings that a photo can capture a piece of the soul, essentially.
I agree. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Upon arriving at the victim's location, 096 will proceed to kill and, data expunged, the victim. 100% of cases have left no traces of the victim.
I'm going to go with eat their face off.
Maybe. And then 096 will sit down for several minutes before regaining its composure and becoming docile once again. It will then attempt to make its way back to its natural habitat. Data redacted.
Somebody get this shy guy a mask. Gosh darn.
Yep. Well, his story is actually really sad too.
Oh.
Due to the possibility of a mass chain reaction, including breach of Foundation secrecy and large civilian loss of life, retrieval of subject to be considered alpha priority. Special containment procedures. 096 is to be contained in its cell, a 5 meter by 5 meter by 5 meter airtight steel cube at all times. Weekly checks for any cracks or holes are mandatory. There are to be absolutely no video surveillance or optical tools of any kind inside 096's cell. Security personnel will use pre-installed pressure sensors and laser detectors to ensure 096's presence inside the cell. Any and all videos, photos, or recordings of 096's likeness are strictly forbidden without approval. So his origin story is he's literally just an ordinary guy. He's a hiker. He's a mountain climber. He's been training his whole life, and his only goal was to conquer Everest.
Okay.
So he goes to go do that. And as he's going, he stays in a village beforehand.
Okay.
And he's staying at this tavern, eating the local food, whatever, enjoying the culture. He's a little cocky, and one of the villagers who fluently speaks English decides to approach him. So he's talking to him, and he's telling him, you really should not go up on the mountain.
Like right now, or just ever?
Ever. You should not go up on the mountain.
Okay.
The guy's like, well, why? Like, I'm going to go do it, basically. Yeah. And this villager responds with, well, what will you say to the king?
The king?
Mm-hmm. And assuming, what will you say when you're met with the king? And assuming that they referred to King as Mount Everest, he's like, well, I'm going to tell him I want his crown, because he's like, I'm going to reach the peak. This is something I've been training for my entire life. Like, I'm going to do it. So the villager ends up walking away and was like, you know what? I have peace of mind that I at least tried to stop him. I attempted. Whatever. So 096 decides to go and start his ascend of the mountain. As he gets up to what's called the dead man zone, whatever, he is met by anomaly 1529, other known as a King of the Mountain. So King of the Mountain approaches him, doesn't say anything to him, is just walking down the peak. And 096 is like, dude, this guy looks calm as hell. Because this is at the point where the air is so thin, this is where people normally die. They can't handle it. You cannot acclimate to the peak of Everest.
Okay.
So this guy's just casually walking down the mountain like it was just a
stroll.
Yeah. And SCP's like, dude, what's this guy doing? As soon as he lays his eyes on the King of the Mountain, the King of the Mountain's wearing this white snowsuit with snow pants, and he has goggles on. You can't see his eyes.
Okay.
So he looks at him and he starts feeling this peace, like this comfort and warmth, which to everyone else might be comforting, but to someone who's been training and mountain climbing their entire life, they know, hey, if I'm in this cold and I start feeling warm and cozy, I'm like brink of death. So he immediately starts becoming panicked. And then he notices that this man's goggles is glowing.
Okay.
And that's his eyes. His eyes are glowing behind the goggles and starts making him panic even more looking into the eyes of this man. So this guy's basically like, what are you doing here? And SCP-096 becomes so scared and frightened and terrified. And through fear, he tells the king of the mountain that he just wanted to climb. The king then decides to punish him by dooming him, or, well, giving him what he wants, I guess. Technically, it's like talking to a genie. He tells him, all right, if you want to climb, you're going to climb and climb and climb. And basically, until I tell you it's okay to stop. You're my new toy. So what he does is he basically sends him off the edge. So 1 minute he's looking at the king. The next minute he's hanging on the side of the mountain and he's looking up and the king is staring down at him. And he still sees these glowing eyes, right? Just staring at him. And he is forced to then constantly climb right back up to that peak just to end up in the same spot again. All right. So this climb ends up completely disfiguring him because at this point, he's been climbing for years and years and years, over and over again, never dying in the same repetition. Yeah. Constantly forced to be hanging off the side of a mountain.
After
climbing up to the peak. So he loses all of his hair. His limbs and fingers are elongated due to the constant strain, and he becomes terribly pale and skinny. Think like Wendigo skinny. And after the king has had his fun, he then leaves the explorer. The explorer then descends the mountain to a nearby village he started his journey from. He's so traumatized. He can do nothing other than cover his face and cry, hoping to find peace from the trauma that he faced, plagued by the sight of the king's burning eyes forever staring at him. He arrives in the village, lowers his hands, and faces the villagers, who he sees are looking at him. He is reminded of the king's stares, becomes enraged, and the only thing he can do is to kill whoever has seen his face. And so he does just that. He starts going on a massacre, slicing and dicing, Jesus, killing everyone that has looked at his face. Okay. And this is terrible because it's a small village and he's going on this massacre. People are screaming. He's screaming. Mm-hmm. The first thing he does when he realizes that, I think this is the king, he drops his jaw open and lets out this wail, like a banshee wail. Okay. So he's screaming this entire time as he's just murdering them. Everyone's coming out to see what's happening. They're looking at his face. Wailing. He's seeing that they're looking at his face, and he ends up nuking the entire village. This is when the SCP Foundation comes in, collects him, and puts him in a cell. There has been so many video games that use SCP-096 for one of those killers. It's like an actual video game that you're running through this maze. It's like one of those modded games. You're running through this maze and all you have to do is turn around and you gotta get the attention of whatever they call there. You know, and it looks at you and then it starts screaming and it starts chasing you. And it's horror games everywhere have this built into them. Okay. And at first I thought it was supposed to be a rake or something, one of those things, but it's based off of SCP-096. Okay then. It's a very sad story. All he does is sit in his cell and sob. He's either sobbing or he's enraged and screaming and killing things. It's super sad.
At that point, I'd be please end my misery and kill me.
Yeah.
Please.
SCP Foundation doesn't want to kill things. Well, almost. Anyways. So our last one is Keter. Okay. Which is very difficult to maintain. And you had picked SCP-1000 Bigfoot.
Yes!
So SCP-1000 is a nocturnal omnivorous ape classified in the Hominini branch along with genera Pan and Homo. Yeah, whatever. I don't do
I'd
biology
have to see
like
it.
That. Anyways, The adults range in sizes from 1.3 to 3 meters, which is 5 feet to 10 feet in height, and weigh between 90 and 270 kilograms, which is 200 to 600 pounds.
Okay, so normal Bigfoot so far. Okay.
Mm-hmm. They have gray, brown, black, red, and occasionally white fur. They possess large eyes with good vision and pronounced brow ridge, like a Neanderthal ridge.
Okay.
And a sagittal crest on the forehead similar to that of a gorilla. But present in both sexes, their intelligence is on par with that of the common chimpanzee. SCP-1000 evolved alongside the Homo sapiens, existing alongside of us, until 10,000 to 15,000 years ago, when an extinction event eliminated all but 1 to 5% of their population. This event was triggered by SCP-1000 contracting an anomalous pseudo-disease.
A what?
Anomalous pseudo-disease.
What does that mean?
A disease that's an anomaly. So it doesn't go by reality.
Okay. The Foundation's not sure.
Yeah, it's an anomalous event, but it's a disease.
Okay. They caught COVID.
Yeah, basically. So this disease is passed on at a genetic level and affects every present-day instance of SCP-1000.
Save Bigfoot. Don't go outside.
The majority of SCP-1000's instances are born immune to this effect, and those who are not born immune die quickly. The effect of the pseudo-disease is as follows. Any hominid, including humans, chimpanzees, bonobos, and non-immune instances of SCP-1000, so it's humans, chimpanzees, anything hominid, so anything humanoid, and non-immune Bigfoots, that directly or indirectly observes any instances of SCP-1000. They have a minimum 2% chance of being instantly killed through an anomalous means of cessation of brain function. This percentage is cumulative, meaning the longer that a human views SCP-1000, the higher chance of an instantaneous death increases, and it increases at a rate of 1% chance every 20 minutes of viewing. This effect varies between individual members of the SCP-1000 species, and some individuals carrying death chance of over 90%. This effect is also produced by dead individuals, though small fur samples do not exhibit the same effect. So basically, what they're saying is everything, the SCP-1000, right?
Okay.
All Bigfoot have this disease now. It's a genetic disease.
Okay.
If any humanoid creature looks at it, which it includes other SCPs that are humanoid.
Okay.
If they look at it, they have a 1% to 2% chance of instant brain death.
Bigfoot.
Yes.
Okay.
And the longer you look at it, the higher that chance gets.
Okay.
Some Bigfoot have a 90% chance of instant death.
Okay.
Okay? Any questions so far?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know yet.
Okay. Known means of preventing this effect are small scale only and include redacted.
Well, that's rude to redact that.
See attached documentation. Level 3 clearance required.
Fuck off.
They get really into it on this site.
We just became agents. We're trying our best.
It is not currently feasible to exterminate SCP-1000 entirely, and the highest known population concentrations of 1000 are present located in the Pacific Northwest region of North America and the Himalayan mountain range in Asia, as of Redacted.
So essentially they're saying that the Yeti is...
The Yeti is considered a Bigfoot.
Okay.
It has also been documented within the past 5 years on every continent. All known significant populations of SCP-1000 located near human population centers have been eliminated. 1000 came to the attention of the Foundation via contact by Dr. Franz Redacted and 14 Redacted, with the Children of the Sun, who identified themselves as outcast members of the Serpent's Hand. This group has been completely destroyed by the Foundation due to their reluctance to surrender information about 1000. SCP Redacted and Redacted, since reclassified as SCP-1000 Redacted, whatever. Sorry, it's a bunch of redacted stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Remaining members have either joined the Foundation or have gone into hiding, presumably as members of the Serpent's Hand. Weapons, tools, and other unique pseudo-technological resources in possession of the organization have been classified as SCP-1000-001. So whenever you see SCP, whatever number, so in this case, SCP-1000 dash 011, whatever number they put after it.
010203.
It means that this is something
like related to it.
Related specifically to Bigfoot.
Okay.
These resources have been made use of by the Foundation in multiple instances. For a full list, see the document, whatever. Access to surviving ex-members of the Children of the Sun is restricted to personnel with clearance level 4 out of 1,000, unless given direct authorization for contact by Director Jones. Further information is available to personnel with clearance level 3 out of 1,000 or above. Personnel with clearance level 3 or above are required to read document Alpha 1596-1000, something like that. Okay? So if you're level 3 or above, you are required to read the specific document about 1000.
Okay.
Special containment procedures. All media reports related to SCP-1000 are to be examined for potential verifiability. All organizations and individuals investigating 1000's existence are to be kept under surveillance by Mobile Task Force Zeta 1000 and discredited or administered amnesiacs to make them forget, like that little flashlight thing from Men in Black.
Yeah.
They're either supposed to be made to forget or discredited. All physical signs of SCP-1000's existence must be retrieved and kept in Foundation custody and replaced with decoy items if necessary. Alleged sightings of SCP-1000 always must be investigated by Zeta 1000, however trivial the claim it may be. Absolutely no contact with wild or captive instances of SCP-1000 is allowed without prior approval by Director Jones. Any interaction between SCP-1000 and humans, including Foundation personnel, must be reported to Director Jones immediately. So the SCP has created 2 lies about SCP-1000.
Okay.
The first being, they go into Hollywood and they try to make it as much of a joke as possible.
Okay.
Right? So they want to discredit anyone that's looking for Bigfoot. They want to make it a joke. Okay.
Bigfoot's real.
So they'll produce like articles about like funny, like they will mold media to make it seem like it's just a big joke.
Okay.
The second lie is that everything you just heard about 1000 is a lie.
What?
Mm-hmm. Everything that I just told you about 1000 is an absolute bullshit lie. So if you remember before, I told you that all clearance level 3 personnel are supposed to read this specific document.
Okay.
The document is titled Alpha 1596-1000.
Okay.
And it reads, "You've probably heard the rumors before now. Everyone without the clearance level to know better wants to get their dig in. Did you hear Sasquatch is an SCP? Are we going to capture and contain Batboy next? Yes, SCP-1000 is Bigfoot. I'm sure you've snickered. Don't worry. Contrary to rumors, we don't actually assign you to Keter duty for finding something humorous. You think Bigfoot is funny because we want you to think Bigfoot is funny. We've bankrolled Hollywood comedies and farcical documentaries, paid off men in gorilla suits."
Real quick. I was going to say, like, this is all, like, if they're dying, if Bigfoots are becoming brain dead from, like, looking at them, like, what?
It's humans that become brain dead from looking at them. If they're born without the disease, they immediately die after birth, is what they're saying.
Bigfoots.
Yes. So if they're not born immune, they are dead.
Okay.
Most are born immune. But if any other humanoid creature or SCP humanoid creatures that are not immune or born immune to the pseudo disease looks at Bigfoot, they have a 1 to 90% chance of dying from instant brain death. But remember, that's a lie.
Okay.
That is all absolute bullshit. The only thing true...
No, here's the thing. I was thinking that Bigfoots were dropping dead. Here, it's the other humanoids that were dropping dead from looking at the Bigfoot.
I might have said Bigfoot, too. I'm not...
We just gaslight each other all the time. It's okay. We're toxic. Anyways.
We've bankrolled Hollywood comedies and Farkle documentaries, paid off men in gorilla suits, perpetrated hoaxes with bear prints and goat fur, bribed and brainwashed cartoonists to get especially silly depictions on children's television. Even the term Bigfoot comes from us, planted in the media in 1958, a term people would find even harder to take seriously than Sasquatch. Why? We'll get to that. The information in the article that you've already read isn't entirely true. There are 2 direct lies and plenty of lies of omission. There is no such thing as the anomalous pseudo-disease, referred to as SCP-1000-F1. 1000 does not possess a magical death aura. In fact, 1000 does not directly exhibit any anomalous effect whatsoever.
Okay.
We also lied about SCP-1000's intelligence level. 1000 aren't chimp-level smart. They're smarter. To be precise, they're exactly as smart as us.
Yeah.
That brings us to the lies of omission. This is what this letter is for. The lies come from me, so I figured the truth should come from me as well.
I'm assuming that this is supposed to be like the founder writing this letter?
This is Director Jones, yes.
Okay.
This is the story we got from the Children of the Sun who defected to us. It's a story we didn't believe, refused to believe at first. As you've already read, the apes we call SCP-1000 evolved alongside us. We walked in the daytime and they walked in the nighttime, our nocturnal siblings in the shadows. Whoa. Sorry. She had farted earlier and I had smelled it. It wasn't loud. And she just did that noise and it sounded like a fart. And I was like, what am I going to smell next? I'm sorry. But while we were still wandering hunter-gatherers, they changed, like we would a few thousand years later. Tools, weapons, agriculture, domesticated animals, stable settlements. As humanity blinked in the something sun, SCP-1000's population exploded across the night. They blanketed the planet in tens of billions. They made things that we still can't comprehend, even though we've thoroughly studied their surviving pieces, organic technology. They made trees and birds of prey grow into fast-moving ships, herds of animals that became trains, bushes that became flying vehicles. From insects and pigeons, they made things equivalent to cell phones, computers, televisions, atomic bombs. Organic technology.
Okay.
The Children of the Sun described vast, shining cities stretching across glaciers and penetrating the deepest caverns. Grown sky ships of ivory and spider silk, creatures tending to them with hundreds of blinking eyes. We were rare, like gorillas now, a few 100,000 at best. We avoided their settlements just like wild animals today avoid ours. SCP-1000 understood we were intelligent like them, but avoided us just as we avoided them. Saw us as fairies, as gnomes. Ascribed us supernatural powers, said that we ate bad children while they slept in the daylight. They fenced off our dwindling wild populations in conservatories, outlawed poaching, but in the underground consumed our bones as aphrodisiacs. Then their civilization fell, and we did it. By we, I don't mean the Foundation. By we, I mean humanity.
Okay.
The story is muddy. Supposedly, a trickster forest god showed humanity favor, showed us the master tools and how we use them. And we did it. Why we did it, we don't know. Perhaps they hunted us. Perhaps we were simply afraid. Perhaps it was just that they fenced us in.
Considering they used our bones for aphrodisiacs?
Underground.
Yeah, still.
We get there. Perhaps it was just that they fenced us in, unintentionally or not. We simply do not know the truth. Somehow, we acquired SCP-1000's own technology, and with it, we instigated an SK-class dominance shift in which humanity became the dominant species of the Earth. We wiped out 70% of SCP-1000's population in a single day. The Day of Flowers, the children called it. Supposedly, every flower bloomed that day, while our enemies died in their sleep. Then we hunted down the rest. But we went further than just killing them. With a few of the more twisted of SCP-1000's devices, we drove the survivors mad. Even those hiding beyond our reach, we trapped them in their own minds, blocking higher functions and leaving their bodies to fend for themselves like any ordinary ape. We slaughtered their living machines and burned their vast shining cities with SCP-1000's bioweapons that reduced everything to a slurry and dust and washed or blew away in the spring rain and wind. We left no traces, not even our own memory. We turned one of the weapons on ourselves and wiped out any knowledge of SCP-1000 and the greatest civilization the planet had ever seen. Only a few humans protected themselves from the effect, kept the forbidden knowledge just in case. The rest of us went back to being hunter-gatherers and none the wiser. Which brings us to today. You're going to read all about this in the Level 3 documentation, but I'll give you the short version here. SCP-1000 are somehow regaining their forgotten intelligence and knowledge. Maybe they never truly lost it, we don't know. This is why the ever-increasing number of Bigfoot sightings is so worrying. Why the attempts at contact, however indecipherable, are even more worrying. Yes, SCP-1000 are just like us. That's what makes them so dangerous. We wiped them from history and memory. We dissolved their civilization and we slaughtered most of their species. Just ask yourself, if they got the chance, what would they want to do to us?
Have you ever, done any research on Bigfoot? Not SCP
No.
Bigfoot, just Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Okay. So my dad used to watch Finding Bigfoot and other Bigfoot shows. So there was the show, and it would essentially take you through stories of people who encountered Bigfoot. Actually, face to face within 6 feet encountered Bigfoot, and they would tell you their stories. Don't know how true it was. It was locked in the back recesses of my mind.
Yeah.
Most of it is. So essentially, the one story that I vividly remember and think about quite often is this woman who was in a second-story bedroom, and Bigfoot came over, ripped her out of bed, and beat her half to death. And she was hospitalized.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So maybe we'll do something on Bigfoot eventually. Hopefully
That'd be cool.
Hopefully we'll do something on Bigfoot eventually. But aggressive. And these were all the stories. They were all pretty aggressive. So
What do you think about SCP's Bigfoot?
if it relates to real world Bigfoot, terrifying. Specifically, the story I just told you with that terrifying. Because, if SCP reality starts regaining their intelligence, they'd wipe us out in a heartbeat.
Absolutely would.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And if we, hypothetically, in SCP world, did that to them, I could understand why they would.
Same.
But I also think giants. SCP world, giants. You know how we found the giant bones and stuff like that?
Mm.
Yep.
Okay. So I picked 2. They're
Okay.
my favorites.
Okay.
Some of my favorites. They're not whatever. The first one is Class Safe. And he's known as the Tickle Monster.
I was about to pick that one.
He is allowed to freely roam the facility, should it desire to. It must stay in its pen, though, from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for sleeping, or during emergency lockdowns for its own safety. And it's so cute. So,
It just goes around and tickles?
no, it's, what it does is it hugs you, and it makes you feel better, and it, basically,
It makes you happy?
yeah.
Aww.
It's adorable. There it goes. So it says its temperament is best described as playful and dog-like. When approached, 999 will often react with overwhelming elation, slithering over to the nearest person, leaping upon them, hugging them with a pair of pseudopods. So it's just got little nubs and it's just hugging you, and it'll nuzzle your face with the third pseudopod. And all the while emitting a high-pitched gurgling and cooing noises. Exactly. 999 emits a pleasing odor that differs with whoever is interacting with it. Recorded scents include chocolate, fresh laundry, bacon, roses, and Play-Doh.
Mine would probably smell like sunshine.
That's so cute. Simply touching it gives you immediate mild euphoria, which intensifies the longer you are exposed.
Okay.
Its favorite activity is tickle wrestling, often by completely enveloping a person from the neck down and tickling them until asked to stop, though it does not always immediately comply with this request. Injuries may occur, but it's never purposely attempted to harm others and will immediately back away and contract its body into a quivering mound while gurgling in a manner similar to a whimpering dog. Oh my god, I can't talk right now. But what it does, it just immediately makes you happy. So a person suffering from crippling depression or PTSD, for example, have reported having far more positive outlook on life after multiple interactions with 999.
Are there multiple
999s? He's like their emotional support dog. So they just let him do whatever he wants. He just hugs people and makes them feel better.
He's probably more like an emotional support octopus, but, you know.
Yes, I guess so. Yeah. He acts very dog-like, though. I just love him. He's so cute. Anyways, and then there's SCP.
I imagine that one is like pink and a little furry.
Not furry. He's gelatinous. Completely gelatinous. But he is pink.
Okay.
He's just like, if you took like...
slime.
Yeah, he's a pink slime. Exactly. He is pink slime. And he just wiggles around. He's so cute. So the next one is Class Euclid, and it's SCP-3008, and it's an IKEA.
A what?
An IKEA.
An IKEA?
Uh-huh.
Okay, the store. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So it's considered Euclid because it's hard to contain. Obviously, it's just a fucking building. So the retail park containing 3008 has been purchased by the Foundation. All public loads leading or passing by the site have been redirected. It's to be monitored at all times. It's under
constant construction.
Is a large retail unit previously owned and branded as IKEA, a popular furniture retail store. A person entering 3008 through the main entrance and then passing out of sight of the doors will find themselves translocated to 3008-1. This displacement will typically go unnoticed as no change will occur from the perspective of the victim, but they will generally not become aware until they try to return to the entrance. It's basically just the back rooms.
That's terrifying.
It's the back rooms.
Oh my god.
And the stories, so 3008-1 is the inside, it's the back rooms. Okay. It's inhabited by an unknown number of civilians that have been trapped. They built basically a little civilization inside of it. And then there's also 3008-2. It's just the monsters that are inside of it.
Okay.
Those are humanoid entities that superficially resemble humans. They possess exaggerated and inconsistent bodily proportions, often described as being too short or too tall. They possess no facial features and in all observed cases wear a yellow shirt and blue trousers consistent with the IKEA employee uniform.
I've never, other than the checkout counters, I've never seen an IKEA employee in IKEA. I've only been to IKEA once though, so.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it's just a big IKEA.
Maybe twice. I might have been twice.
The IKEA around it is not the SCP. But when you walk inside, technically, the IKEA's SCP... I'm sorry, I'm wording this all wrong. The building is SCP-3008 because of the anomalous event that happens inside of it.
Okay.
So the actual entity is SCP-3008-1. So that's when you walk inside, get away from the doors, basically,
and enter the back rooms.
Transported into the back rooms.
Terrifying.
And then inside those back rooms, you have 3008-2, which are the employees who are dangerous.
Jesus. Okay.
It's literally the back rooms.
I wonder if it was branded as a Target, if they would wear Target clothes.
I'm assuming so.
Oh my god, terrifying. Branded as a Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh.
That'd be absolutely terrifying.
But
Do you know I saw Chucky in Hot Topic once?
No.
Yeah, I saw Chuck E. Cheese at Hot Topic, and I have a picture with Chuck E. Cheese at Hot Topic.
Just so you know,
it was awesome.
The SCP-173, the first one that I talked about, the statue.
Okay.
It actually looks like Sour Patch Kids. Have you ever, the shape of a Sour Patch Kid, or what those little things look like, the weird head?
Yeah, like on the commercials.
It's basically exactly that, just if you made it out of concrete.
Okay. Creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's kind of like yellow tinted.
Okay.
The one short film, it's an indie short film.
Mm-hmm.
I had watched it, and it was actually really good. It was based off of 173.
Okay.
And the main scene that I can think of right now is this woman goes in, she's the cleaner. And usually, for these specific things, if you're not an agent, they bring in prisoners. They will use prisoners to do the experiments with the different SCPs to see how dangerous they are.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it is very fucked up. But this one prisoner, a woman, is the cleaning lady.
Okay.
So all the guards come in, and it's 2 guards and this woman. So the 2 guards are supposed to stare at 173 the entire time. And they'll notion to each other when one is blinking and one's not. Right? So they're highly trained. They're supposed to blink opposite times. So eyes are on 173 at all times while she's
Just
cleaning.
so everybody knows, Lady is talking about blinking, and I can't help but blink faster.
Yeah, it's
like
you look.
Did you notice?
Yes.
I just started.
I thought I was confusing you at first because you're just sitting there blinking at me.
No, I just my eyes just started going. Oh my god! Don't blink, and then
you have to blink.
Oh my gosh!
So, anyways, they're cleaning.
I'm obviously not a highly trained officer.
We shouldn't be agents.
No.
They're cleaning, and as they're cleaning, one of her mop things on the wall away from 173 drops. And it's a really loud bang. So the officers, one of them was blinking and the other one looked and took its eyes off of SCP-173.
Okay.
And the moment he did, immediately, you get shown body cam footage of the thing, and it's looking at the area where SCP-173 was, and there's nothing there. The woman's just on the ground looking up and he just drops dead. And then the other guy looks over, and it's just this whole thing where they're like, oh my god, we're gonna die or whatever. And I'm pretty sure it leads into a containment breach where someone tries to come in and help, opens the door, and that thing shoots out. And now it's hunting the entire facility. There's games based off of it too, where 173 gets out and it hunts you throughout the facility.
Okay.
It's crazy. It's scary.
Yeah.
That one game, I thought I sent it to you. Security Containment or something like that. It's all SCP. There's literally a game though that's SCP Foundation. It's during a containment breach and you have to get away from and contain all the anomalies again.
Oh dude, I don't know.
There's a bunch of games based off of it. I think it's really cool. But I'm not one to get super interested in things like that.
Okay.
I feel like once I start getting really interested in things, I immediately lose interest because I feel like I have to learn everything about it and I don't have the time to, so I just decide not to. It's one of those things, you know?
You know what that sounds like? A Gemini.
I'm not a Gemini. I don't think I have any Gemini.
You don't?
I don't think I do.
Strange.
Why is it strange?
I don't know. Because I have so much. Okay, so weird thought of the week this week is someone studying atoms is just a bunch of atoms trying to understand themselves.
I feel the same way as like neurologists.
Yeah, it's just the brain trying
Studying
to
the brain.
understand. Yep.
No, that type of like concept absolutely freaks me out.
Oh?
The brain named itself.
Yes, it did.
We're just like a flesh bag. The brain is the entire operation.
Yes.
I hate it. That's why I like jellyfish though. They're just basically a brain floating through water.
That one actually creeps me out.
It's a brain without consciousness.
That kind of disgusts me, I'm not gonna lie.
I took your weird bottle of the week and flipped it, bitch.
You did.
You're welcome.
I did not like that.
You're welcome.
I did not like that at all.
I liked it.
Okay. Oh, this got weird.
It did get weird.
I figured the atom thing was good because we were just talking about a bunch of essentially atoms with anomalies.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not anymore.
Well, now that I just creeped out Storm, be kind. Love yourselves.
And maybe hydrate, you little creeps. Bye, bitches.
You're welcome for that.
I'm traumatized.